that was when I had that moment of, "Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna just let this book sit and collect dust like all the others
Mhm.
because it's popular right now, and if I indie publish it, I'm gonna hit it right on time." Like,
Mhm.
yes, I might have
Mhm.
missed it for trad publishing. Like, they
Mhm.
might have already moved on to, like, the next trend that's gonna be upcoming. Because you think with trad publishing, you're a couple years out. It's not, you get
Right.
the deal and then a month later. It's like, okay,
Right.
you're gonna be 3 years before you're
Yeah.
actually on shelves.
Yeah.
And so I was like, "I'm not gonna miss this opportunity.
Mhm.
I'm gonna do the thing. I'm gonna indie publish," which
You do the
I
thing.
had not really been wanting to do for years. I'd been
Yeah.
avoiding that, and then I did it, and it was wonderful, and I was like, "Ma I should have done this sooner."
All right. Hey guys, I am Lauren,
And I'm Darcy.
and we have a guest with us.
Hi, I'm Bree.
And this is the Untitled Work in podcast, where we talk about our journey as authors and invite amazing authors like Bree Wilde on to come and share her journey. And so, yeah,
Very excited to have you here.
I know it's going to be so much fun. Oh my gosh. So to kick us off, let's dive into the works in progress, not work in podcast. That always trips me.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a tongue twister.
It really is. So Darcy, what have you been working on?
Yeah, so of course the Unholy Vows novel. Been kind of fleshing that out a bit.
Yeah.
I am also trying to partially work on my dark comedy rom-com. So
I really want that, Darcy. Hurry up.
so that's another project that I've been kind of playing with a little bit more lately too.
I love it. I love it.
What about you?
So for me, I've been working more on like the torch and then character development for our main character, so that we have kind of a better background for her that's more fleshed out, so that as we kind of dive into some of the bigger stuff, like the fun and games section and all the good stuff, we've got just a little bit more of an understanding for her as questions come up of like, how would she react in this situation? Because yeah,
It's a little complicated.
we both love Matilda and that struggle with totally different elements of Matilda's character so much. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on. I haven't really had time to dive into anything else. So really just the torch and character development, which is a lot.
That's a
on its
lot.
own.
Yeah. That's a lot there.
Oh, absolutely. But what have you been working on, Bree?
So I am currently working on it'll be the second book in an interconnected standalone series. So it's one of the characters from a book I recently released is now
Yeah.
getting her own story. So I'm having a lot of
Cool.
fun, like revisiting the same world but completely separate
Yeah.
story. But I haven't been working on it as much as I'd like to. I've just been busy running around.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We feel that so much.
So much.
Yeah.
But that's super exciting.
Yeah, I love the idea
Yeah.
of getting to go back to a world you've already created and tell another, like somebody else's story in that world.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm very pro like standalones and duologies. I feel like there are a lot of endless series, so I'm like, let's bring back some like fun standalone stuff. So
Yeah.
it's fun to go back to that same world but different,
Yeah.
different character, different storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah, we totally get that. We've actually we've talked about that with what we're working on too. So
Yeah.
I always love that concept. I think
Yeah.
it's a great way to build the world more too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. What made you want to go back to the world with this character? Was it just audience feedback or your own just kind of connection?
So even before I started writing the first one, I had actually had this idea of just like this fleshed out world kind of came to me of like it's kind of a portal world where you can enter through the human world, and I was like it would be so cool if I had all these different realms, and then I slowly kind of just explored each one, but then we had the Easter egg kind of appearances of the different characters, and I was like that would just be so fun. So it was before I even started the first one. And then I was kind of nervous when I released it with like it's a standalone, but it'll be part of an interconnected series. And luckily readers have been really excited. So that's always good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
That's awesome.
Well, I can't wait to hear how it goes.
Yeah, me too.
I actually I have both of your books that you have on Amazon in my cart right now.
Ah!
Because I was
Yay!
looking at them last night and I was
Woo!
like, these sound really freaking good.
You found Darcy's
I
genre.
hope you
sir.
like them.
I'm very excited.
I love it. Well, now you know there's a third one on the
Yeah.
way.
Ooh.
Yes.
You're gonna have to write faster, Bree.
Honestly, I'm ready. I'm hoping to do 3 books a year, if not 4. I'd love to do 4 books a year, but we'll see how it goes.
Wow.
Anytime I make plans like that, I'm like I self-sabotage. So I'm like kind of like tentatively like, okay, I hope I can do
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I
this.
Gosh, I have another novel that like it's being worked on. It doesn't count as a work in progress
All
because
right,
it's
all
like
right.
Oh,
it's like to the side right now because I'm focusing on Unholy
sure.
Vows, but I've been working on it for like 6 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
I feel like it my first book that came out in January, I had worked on it for like 4 years and then I had pursued I won't jump ahead, but anyways, like that one I published it, but it took me 4 years to write it and then this next one it was like I wrote it very quickly. It was like from starting writing to publishing was like 5 months or something. It's like I can do this. I
Wow.
can crank these out.
Dang.
That's impressive.
Yeah. You gotta
So
do that for Unholy
Yeah,
Vows.
I know, seriously.
That's crazy. Well, let's jump ahead to pen to paper section and let's just chat about your story. I'd love to hear kind of your origin story as a writer, and then we'll kind of dive into the meat of it.
Okay, perfect. So I don't know if you guys ever read the like Dear America books. Do you remember this? Everyone I've brought it up to like doesn't remember these, but they were like diary entries of
Yeah.
teenagers on the Oregon Trail and
Yes, I have those.
different things like that. So it was like I was obsessed with them, and so I would write my own versions of that when I was like 8, 9 years
Oh, I
old,
love
and
it.
I imagine they were very historically accurate. But it was it was so fun. That was kind of where I first started though, of I wanted different characters than what I was seeing in these books, probably because the characters I had in mind didn't exist in that time. But I'd like add them in, and so that's where I think I kind of started. I mean, I was writing stories before I could actually write. I would have like a babysitter write it down for me. I was just obsessed with like
Oh,
stories.
I love that.
And then as I got older, then I was like, I want to write an actual book, and so that was kind of as a teenager, I started actually writing full-length novels,
That's
like
awesome.
beginning, middle, end, which was yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So that's yeah, that was how it all started, it was just something I like to do. I read a lot, obviously, as a kid,
Yeah.
and then I feel like that's how a lot of writers get started, is they just read, and then they're like, "I'd love to read a story like this," but they can't find it, and so they're like, "Well, I guess I'll
Mhm.
just write it. I'll write the story."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that's kinda how mine started, was I was like, "I'd like to see this character or that character or this situation," and then so I just wrote it.
Yeah.
What brought you to like the fantasy genre?
Honestly, I think I know I read, so my first novel that I ever wrote was dystopian, and so I was reading a lot of the big dystopians at the time, Scott Westerfeld's, The
Oh
Uglies. I
yeah.
read,
Oh yeah.
pretty much any of the big dystopians too, like, and I don't know the years they came out, but, I loved Divergent, I loved
Mhm.
Hunger Games, I loved all of these books, and so, again, it was just like I had fallen in love with that story, like, um, kind of the general idea of it, and I was like, "What if I did my own?" And so, that was how I came to that, and then, for fantasy more specifically, Twilight was a big one for me. I was
Oh
a
yeah.
huge
Me
Twilight,
too.
so I loved, 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 loved Twilight, and that was the first one, like, the way it was written, I was like, "I am Bella." Like, I just became this character, and for days, I'd be thinking, like, as if I was her, and then I'm like, "Man, I'd love to write a book where you just feel like that." It's not
Mhm.
about, like, taking a I've never been a writer that's really into the, like, beautiful, lush, flowery language. There are some writers that I'm like, "Oh my god, this is like a piece of art."
Yeah.
Mine has always been more like it's more escapist and to feel something and to become that character, and I just love that, and I got that feeling so much from Twilight that I'm like, I love that. I wanna do that more, like, so that was when I
That's
started writing a
amazing.
lot of, first person, was like I switched from third, and I've never really gone back. I love first person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, cool. So I was super like that with Twilight too. That's actually
Yeah.
sort of my writing journey.
Heck yes.
The escapism, the I want to be this girl that makes the
Yes.
monsters fall in love with her.
Yes.
That's
I was
hilarious.
like,
I literally was
too,
the one that
have
was
very
like,
little personality, so I would
oh my
love to
god.
just have all the hot guys fall in love with me. That was the goal as a teenager.
That's why she wrote it that way. Because if there's no
Yeah.
personality, you just put yours and it's
Yes.
Perfect.
Exactly. No, literally, I feel like that is how Twilight worked for so many people, is I'm like, I can just she doesn't have one, so here, she can have mine, like, in
yeah.
my head. Edward loves me for
I love something that I love about Twilight with the release of Midnight Sun
Mm,
is the
Mhm.
unreliable narrator aspect that you
mm.
get a really deep dive into of like how she saw the world and then how Edward sees the world and sees her.
Yes.
It's such a beautiful example of unreliable narrators.
Heck yes.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's so funny that that's like your guys are bonding over. You were
Yes.
both Bella.
Love Twilight.
I
Yes.
hope I wasn't Bella.
Wow.
No, we're like the new
In the
version
middle.
of Bella,
Yeah.
basically, you know? We just kinda
Yeah.
added her, like she was a canvas, and we became Bella
Yes.
Right.
over
Yeah,
over
that's
her.
what I mean.
Yes.
Not that you have
Yes.
personality.
That's much better.
We have personalities.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh.
That's hilarious. So when you got started writing, you said that you started writing novels, like full novels, as a teenager.
Yes.
What was the publishing process for you in that, or the pursuit of publishing in that? Because you were doing fan fiction at the time as well, or
So I've never done fan fiction,
okay,
but I did Wattpad, which is, like,
okay,
home to a bunch of fan fiction.
yeah,
And so I think I created a pen name at I was 16 or 17 and started posting my first well, it wasn't my first book, it was like my 3rd novel at that point, but it was the first one I, like, shared with people.
yeah,
And so I created a pen name because I was like, I don't want anyone in my real life to know what I do. I'm such a weirdo. Like, I was like, I'm gonna distance that, like, so far from myself. And so I started posting on there, and well, it was that first book I wrote ended up just kind of blowing up. It
Mhm.
was back when Wattpad you could do that. You know, I feel like now it's a much different world on Wattpad,
Yeah.
but they still had their top 10 lists, and my book made one of their top 10 lists, and so it just got tons and tons of
That's
readers.
awesome.
That's awesome.
And it was very interesting to people loved my book, and then once it got popular, a lot of people came to hate my book. And
Mm,
it was that, like, realization it's the parasocial relationships of once I
yeah.
got popular, I was no longer, just a teen writer. It was like
It should be a certain level and a blah.
Yeah.
yes, it's like everyone was making comments of how I should have done this or that, and I was
Mhm.
taking too long to post an update. Like, people just got very
Yeah.
aggressively involved. So it was definitely a learning experience of it. And also, looking back, it's like, oh, it wasn't actually about the book itself. It was like certain people latch on to popular things and just like to be
Mhm.
mean, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
that was a big learning moment for me, I think.
yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty wild that you dealt with that at such a young age. Because I would like publish and stuff like that, and none of my stuff really like took off because I think I wasn't
Mhm.
doing like Wattpad or anything. I was doing I
Yeah.
think it was called like it wasn't Quizlet, but it started with a Q, and it was like the story.
Quizlet.
It was it was the stories where like one of them was like the girl was like really really like scene kid, and then the guy was like really really popular, and they fell in love or whatever. So I didn't you couldn't comment on those.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting that like at a young age you got to experience that. How did that help you though now with going into publishing? Like was there fears there with getting the same kind of backlash?
No, honestly, I think it helped a lot because through doing that, you start to again, over the years, you start to look back and you're like, my story wasn't changing, just the comments were changing. And so
Mhm.
I felt like it was this reminder of like, as you get more popular, you're going to get more hate and you're going to get more one-star reviews. And it's just the nature of the beast. And almost, if you're getting more, if you start and you have lots of 5-star reviews and then you start getting 1 star, it's not because the quality of your work has suddenly changed. It's just that's the nature of the beast. As more people hear about the book, people who probably aren't your target audience as well are gonna
Mhm.
read the book and be
Yeah.
like, "What's all the fuss about this book?"
Yeah.
And then they're like, "This has vampires in it. This sucks. 1 star. Like, I only like contemporary." It's like, "Well, come on." Like,
Yeah.
so I feel like that it's only helped because it's realizing like, okay, some people just are, you know, they're gonna critique anything and everything, and they go in looking for problems, or
Mhm.
again, they're not your target audience. They just are curious,
Yeah.
and also I think I found that when I get one-star reviews, because again, it's inevitable once you get a certain number of reviews, but sometimes it's like, okay, this person hated my book for the exact reason someone else is gonna like it, so they're not
Mhm.
all
Oh, yeah.
necessarily,
Yeah.
you know, bad. It can help still, like, find the correct audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause if someone doesn't like vampires, they should not read my book because they're not gonna like it. They're gonna hate it. So it's like sometimes those one-star reviews will help, like, direct the wrong people away because they'll be like, "Oh,
Mhm.
this has vampires? Yeah, I shouldn't read that." And it's like,
Yeah.
"Okay."
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was an Instagram post from another author I was reading this morning, and she was talking about you don't love every book you read, so there's no reason to expect that everyone who reads your book will love it. And so if you get the 1 and
100%.
2 star reviews, just, you know, like you said, fluff it off. Just be like, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
need to take that with me unless, you know, if there's good feedback in there, like theoretically you're having editors or beta readers giving you that good feedback, but it's like, yeah, it's
Mhm.
not everyone's cup of tea, and that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have an issue if you have genuine, like, readers and your average is 1 or 2 stars, like, okay, there might be something wrong here, but my biggest advice, you know, is stay away from Goodreads. I usually have a
Yeah.
friend go read my, like, top reviews just to give me, you know, the good reviews and see how people are liking it, or again, if they see that repetitive, like, issue, which hasn't happened for my books yet, like, have someone sift through them basically and see if
Yeah.
there's anything useful, see if, you know, there's some positive stuff they can share with you. Because even if you go in and you're like, "I'm only gonna read the positive." No, you're not. Like, don't lie to
No,
yourself.
no.
You're like, you're a masochist. You're gonna read the one-star reviews, and then you're gonna feel sad about yourself,
Yeah.
and it's not worth it. Stay out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lone Star 2739 from Waino,
Yes.
Texas was like, I hated this book. You're like, I
It
don't know.
sucked. Why are they a writer? You know?
You're like, you're
No.
right. I should
No, they
question
can
my
get any.
existence.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe that's one good thing that will come from AI is that you could go to a Goodreads review of like books, like your book, and be like, show me what everyone's like an Amazon review thing where it's like reviewers are saying that they really like this much, but they don't like this much. You're like, okay, thank you, AI.
That's all I needed.
I'm good. I don't have to go any farther.
I've been getting a lot of emails. There's a new, like, spam thing it's
Okay.
AI. They, like, put your book into, um like, write a pitch for the author of This Violent Light, to use my marketing services, and it, like, goes through and it's like they've read it, you know, and they'll be like, "Oh, with this lush world building,
Hmm.
I fell in love with Sebastian's character,
Insert
but you
character
only
name.
have this, you know, yes, you only have so many reviews. Do you really want your
Mhm.
book gathering dust for the rest of time?" I'm like, "What kind of pitch is
Oh,
this?
It's
Like, you're
digital. What it
insulting
does.
me."
digital
Yeah,
done.
it's like,
Digital
"Oh my
dust.
gosh." Yeah. You'll probably like, they're popping up more and more on threads because they all of these, ChatGPT ones, they use a bunch of
Mhm.
emojis, like,
Oh,
sprinkled
yeah.
throughout, so it's like,
Yeah.
"Here's a massive insult," and then, like, happy face, or it's, like, graveyard, like, it just
Oh,
it's,
no.
"All right, this is
You know what's
aggressive
so
emojis."
funny is that some people are starting to use AI to write books and publish them or whatever,
They've
which
been
is
leaving in
wild. But
prompts.
but I would just die though if an AI review and publishing company reached out to an AI author.
Oh, you know it's
Well, we don't
happening,
even live
yeah.
in the world anymore. AI has its own existence now.
It's just talking to
Yes.
each other.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, we can help you with your Sebastian character.
Yeah.
And they're
Oh,
like,
Oh
no.
my gosh.
dead. Insert
Oh.
prompt.
Honestly, I wish they would just talk to each other, leave me out of it. I'm like, "I don't wanna talk to
Exactly.
you."
For real. Oh my gosh.
Please.
Well, before we get down the AI rabbit trail too far,
Yes, good
that is a
call.
rabbit trail for sure.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your experience with Wattpad and then kind of the years that followed and like what you did as far as like pursuing publishing and everything.
So Wattpad was really interesting for me because, again, I was on there in 20 must've been 2012 or 13 when I started, and then I was on there for, like, 4 or 5 years. I got had a couple popular books on there, and I did an audiobook deal through them,
Oh, wow.
um, and Wattpad, I feel like it's a fun place to be as a teenager, but it can make it challenging to then shift into a professional publishing career. I
Yeah.
also felt like I was very, can't think of the word I'm looking for, but I came like into publishing. Like, so when I was 17, I was like, yeah, I have so many followers on Wattpad. Like when I was querying agents, and I got an agent very young. I only queried, I think, 4 or 5 people, and of those five, like I ended up getting an agent,
Wow.
and I was like, this is so easy. What are people talking about? This is like
Oh
piece of cake.
man.
And then I learned that there's such a thing as like a schmagent, and that was what I had. And so my book died on sub,
Mm,
um, and then I eventually parted ways with that agent.
mhm.
And then every year I got older, like I felt like I was having this like quarter life crisis of it wasn't as like, oh, I'm a 17-year-old like with a book, like trying to get an agent, because I feel like agents responded a lot more positively to that, like, "Oh, you're so cute." And I'm like, "Okay, now I'm, like, 28 trying to get an agent," and so, like, basically, I queried from the time I left that agent, like, on and off with different books for almost, I think it was, like, about 10 years. I was
Oh, wow.
querying and struggling to get an agent, and it was just this horrible, like, "Oh my gosh, was I a better writer at 17 than I am
Mhm.
now?" Or, like, "What is going on?" But I can also say with, like, huge certainty that the querying, um, environment has changed so drastically from when I
Mhm.
started to now, because even, like, a few years, even once I learned, like, "Oh, I don't need to put my age in the query letter, that's weird," um, I'd still get a lot of agent interest, and then by, like, the time I was 28, there were fewer and fewer agents, and then there were more and more writers who were
Mhm.
querying,
Mhm.
and I started getting a lot more of, like, "Oh, this is great, I actually love it, but I just don't have room on my list," right? A lot of, like, there
Mhm.
was
Oh,
nothing
wow.
they were pinpointing that was wrong, but they were also like, "I just don't think that," like, "I don't know how I would position this exactly," but they read the full it was just like you get to this point where it's like, I'm not really getting any criticism, but I'm also not getting, like,
Yeah.
picked up, and
Yeah, we're getting to, like, the
yeah,
final
so
interview, and then they're like,
yes,
"Well, we have to go with
exactly.
the other candidate," or like, "We've already got the
Yes,
candidate," and you're
Oh.
like, "Oh, you read the
yes.
book."
Yeah, yeah, and I'm like, I'd rather have some sort of, like, concrete, like, this is why this book is not working. Instead,
Yeah.
it was just like, it's just not quite. You're at, like, the 95%. And so with my last book that I had queried, Between Smoke and Shadow, I had gotten a lot of that feedback of like, oh, I really enjoyed it, but I'm just not gonna, like, I don't have room on my list. Or the big thing was it was a romantasy, and romantasy blew up like right at that time. And I think a lot of people assume like, oh, if you're on time for that trend. It's like, no, I've already missed the trend. If it's blown up, like you've already missed the trend. And
Mhm,
so I was
Yeah.
querying when it was popular, and so they're like, "It's flooded now, like, we have
mhm.
to be so extremely picky," and that was when I had that moment of, "Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna just let this book sit and collect dust like all the others,
Mhm.
because it's popular right now, and if I indie publish it, I'm gonna hit it right on time." Like,
Mhm.
yes, I might have
Mhm.
missed it for trad publishing, like, they
Mhm.
might have already moved on to, like, the next trend that's gonna be upcoming. Because you think with trad publishing, you're a couple years out. It's not, you get
Right,
the deal and then a month later. It's like, okay,
right.
you're
Yeah.
gonna be 3 years before you're
Yeah.
actually on shelves.
Yeah.
And so I was like, "I'm not gonna miss this opportunity.
Mhm.
I'm gonna do the thing. I'm gonna indie publish," which
You do the
I
thing.
had not really been wanting to do for years. I'd been
Yeah.
avoiding that, and then I did it, and it was wonderful, and I was like, I should have done this sooner." That's all, like, I keep thinking it. As soon as I published the first one, I was like, "Why did I not do this?" I had so many books, and I just
Yeah.
was so, like, dug into, "I'm gonna be a trad published author, I'm gonna have the
Mhm.
agent, I'm gonna get a book deal," on and on. I had it figured out in my head, and I had a hard time letting go of that notion.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think too, like our generation was probably the last like generation where like when you thought of like books, you thought of publishing
Trad publishing,
houses.
yeah.
Yeah. So
100%.
and independent
Yeah.
publishing was like we were told, it's gonna fail. Like don't do that. Don't ever touch independent
Or it's
publishing.
really hard,
Yeah.
you have to have pixie dust to make it work,
Yeah.
or you have to be a
Yes.
social media model
Yeah.
influencer first, and then people will read it, or.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's awesome to see that like I mean that really was what you needed to like really set your foot in that door.
Yeah.
Yes. I think I just realized I'm like, and I'm someone who just tends to be, I'm a perfectionist. I'm also like a people pleaser. big time, and so I wanted someone to give me permission to publish a book. I wanted someone to say, "Yeah, that's worth publishing. Yes,
Mhm.
you are worth, like, being an author." I wanted someone to, like, give me their blessing, basically,
Yeah.
but then finally I was like, "You know what? If no one is gonna take the gatekeepers aren't gonna take a chance on me, I'm gonna take a chance on myself."
Mhm.
Because I can't wait forever hoping that someday someone's like, "She has potential." I was like, "I know I have potential, so let's just
Yeah.
do it. Let's do the thing."
Yeah.
And then, when you actually indie publish, then the readers start showing up and you're like I had this moment of like, "I knew it. I knew it. I knew, like, I wasn't crazy."
Yeah.
You start to feel crazy of like, "Do my books all suck? Like, is this actually a
Mhm. Oh,
thing?"
yeah.
Yeah.
But instead I was like, yeah, I don't know, it was very validating to be like, "Oh my gosh, people
Yeah.
actually like my book." I thought they would. I thought
Yeah.
people would like them. So and it was very freeing just to be like, "Okay, I didn't need the trad route to be
Yeah.
to build an author career."
Yeah.
Because now I can see it so much clearer of if I just keep at this, I'm gonna get where I wanna be. Where
Yeah.
before it's like I was just stuck at square one for years. You never get anywhere.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
just waiting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, and like Darcy said, I mean, I think that our like millennial generation is probably the generations coming up under us are gonna be like, yeah, indie everything because I can do whatever I
mhm.
want on social media.
Yeah.
Well, not whatever
Yes.
you want, but I have access
Yes.
to whatever I want.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
I think the millennial generation, I think we were very much just like conditioned to, indie is worse. Indie is like means you couldn't make it in like
mhm.
the real business. And so you had to go off on your own. And then everyone below us is like, why would you wait for permission? Why would you split
Yeah.
Yeah.
royalties with, I
Right.
like to them it
Yeah.
doesn't even, but like for us, it was like an ego thing of if you
Mhm.
want to be a real author, you
Yeah.
have to do trad.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think that was a big part of my struggle was like, I don't want to accept defeat. Like I don't want to just do the do the easy route because I
Right.
couldn't get accepted. And then yeah, you find out India is not the easy route
No, I was gonna
anyway,
say it's not
but
easy.
at least at least you can move forward. That's been the
Yeah.
biggest game changer for me is I'm like, at least I'm not stuck in square one. Even
Yeah.
if I'm only in like even if I'm only in square two for like at least I'm
Mhm.
making progress. It
Yeah.
sucks to be stuck just like how about this book? How about this
Yeah.
book?
Yeah.
How about this
Yeah.
book?
So
And it's all
somebody.
no, and it's like,
Please
yes, someone take my
sorry.
book.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Well, and it's interesting you say that too because, of Gen Z or Alpha coming up and saying, "Why would you share the royalties with an agent or
Yeah.
anything?" It's like it's the same thing in film right now, is that
Yeah.
Mhm.
there are like agents are dying out basically. Not agents for like repping, above the line, but for like acquisitions for movies and stuff. Because
Mhm.
if you do a little bit of work, a little bit of research, you can find ways to stream it, like share your work on pretty much any of the platforms that are just free streaming.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's just getting into those Netflixes and, Disney Pluses and stuff that's the harder part, but those are like your trad publishing houses,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
so it's like, but if you
Yes.
if you skip the like sales agent, you're saving all that commission money because they take their
Right.
commission first. And so it's like same for
Yes.
authors, is like whatever money you get in is going to be more, even if it's not hitting maybe some of the same audiences, but
A
you have so much
absolutely.
more power with marketing now
Yeah,
to
social
market
media.
to the people. Go hit up all the Twilight
100%.
people. Be like, I have
Yeah.
your next Twilight book.
Yeah.
Like, that's not hard.
Well, and that's been something I've learned too, doing indie is like my royalty rate or like, my profit per book is so much higher. I have a friend who does trad and she'll make like, a dollar or two per book and
Mhm.
I'll make so like for my ebooks, I don't know what the trad rate is for an ebook for trad. Do you guys? I'm not sure what it is, but like I know indie is much higher because I'm at 70%
Oh, wow.
Oh,
of like of an ebook sale where I'm pretty sure my
I
friend
think
is like,
if I'm not mistaken, but this was like 2 years ago, it was like 25?
For an ebook?
okay, I
Think so, yeah. It was pretty low.
Dang.
yes, it's low. It's definitely way lower, and even like same with paperback, it's much lower, and so it's like
Hmm.
my friend has made far more sales because
Mhm.
she's able to get into the big bookstores,
Mhm.
and I'm not, but I'm actually making more profit because
Mhm.
I make so much more per book. And so it's like again, it's the yes, trad can get you into the bigger places, but if you're not making as much per book, it might not actually be worth it. Like there's a lot to take into consideration when you're actually looking at the profitability of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there is something to be said for trad in the sense that they do alleviate the majority of the work that goes into it. So
Yes.
for indie publishing, for you, like you have to figure out graphic design, you have to figure out formatting, you have to figure out marketing. Versus for a trad, they don't.
They do it all for
Yes.
They do it all for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
How has that been
100%.
for you navigating that?
You know, I think that's another thing that's as we get like farther with technology, that's something like so formatting, I literally just put it into a software called Vellum and it formats it for you. And you
Mm.
just kind of tweak it to make sure the chapters line up right. But because I at first I was like, I don't know how to format a book. I'm gonna try to do it on, I think I tried to do it on Word.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
It was
not
I
built
made
for
a mess
this.
of it. I was like, I have it, I got it, and I sent it out to ARC readers, and they're like, something's really wrong. And I like went and looked, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like,
How
give
was the
me
book?
like 20
What was the
minutes.
book?
I just went and I went and bought Vellum and did it, and I sent it again, and they're like, oh, this is perfect. I was like, okay, phew. So there's definitely learning curves, but so
Yeah.
much of it, if you can find the right resources,
Yeah.
it makes it a lot simpler. And also, I think with indie, just knowing your strengths, like
Mhm.
you know, I think a big part of indie is like you have to be like the project manager, but that doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily mean you do everything. Like
Right.
I don't do my own cover design. I'm not artistically gifted at all. Like I would make a mess. But I know that all I need to know is how far in advance do I need to book the cover design to have
Mhm.
it ready for, you know, this promo release so that I can and then I can send out like physical arcs and e-arcs if I want to.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all just like fitting it into your schedule more than like, okay, now I need to, you know, now I need to physically like do the cover design or now I need to physically format, you know, these things. It's like, okay, figure out what needs to happen when
Yeah.
and what parts you can actually do. And if you can't find a good person to source it out to. And I think something I definitely learned is your first book is going to be the hardest one because you have to figure all this stuff out.
Yeah.
But
Right.
like, so from going, you know, the first one I published, it was really hard for me. It took months to kind of get everything lined up. But
Mm.
the second one, it was like I already knew what to do. I already knew
Yeah.
which programs to use. I knew which cover designer to use. I knew what, like
Yeah.
all these things that you can kind of just check off. And I'm like, every book I think is going to get easier because I
Yeah.
already have contacts in place. I already have like a system, and you just kind of tweak it every time to make it like run smoother.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's really cool, like just to think about the fact too that like in a way you could be set up to assist newer independent artists as well because
Mhm.
you've already done it, you're getting better each time.
Yeah.
So then you can, if it ever became something that you wanted to do, you could then mentor younger artists.
Well, and definitely I've found it's the indie author community is so wonderful because I know when I was pursuing trad, it felt a lot more like hush hush of like we don't talk about and I think that's also changing. I've started to see on threads, you know, trad authors talking about their experience and
Yeah.
giving advice.
Mm-hmm.
But indie for me has always been a really nice place of, hey, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. And you'll have indie authors just like respond and be like, you
Yeah.
should try this resource.
Yeah.
There's also
Yeah.
discords that are really helpful to because I'm always I've tried to be very open on threads of like if you have any questions, just reach out to me because I know it's I wouldn't have known what to do for some of these things, and it helps just to have someone who's done it
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
say yes, this is worth it, or yes, it's not worth it. And then of course you always have to be like, okay, if it wasn't worth it for them, is there a chance it would still be helpful for me?
Yeah.
Just hearing other people's experiences is really, really helpful,
Yeah.
especially when you're first starting out.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's also like being like specific with your questions of like, I'm trying to do a cover design. Like, if I want to design or if I want to find a graphics artist, like, where do we go?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, you'll see some people come and be like, "Hey, so I wanted to ask you, like, how do you self-publish on Amazon?" And it's like, "Okay, that's a whole like, what do you mean?" Like, we got a lot to unpack there. So yeah, knowing
Go to
what to
YouTube
ask and
yet.
knowing yes, right. Like, I think you should probably read a couple articles, figure out your actual question, and then come back because
Yeah.
that's going to be a whole like course to how
Yeah.
to publish on Amazon.
Right.
So I guess too, talking about like publishing and then the marketing aspect of everything, since you kind of have to market everything yourself, you're your
Mhm.
promotional person, you're your marketing person. Um, I guess what have you found the easiest and what have you found the hardest about marketing for your own works?
I think most authors hate marketing. It's just not our I feel like most of us are introverts, and so it's very awkward to be like, "Hey, you wanna read my book?" But again, it's something that I think gets easier. The more you do it, the more it just kind of becomes routine. If you see a post asking for a romantasy on Kindle Unlimited, you just, "Oh, hey, I've got one," and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kinda awkward, but you just do it anyway. I would say finding certain platforms, like Threads to me has been my best social media platform of, like, where to promote. That's where I get almost all of my ARC readers comes from Threads. There's
Okay.
a huge, like,
Huh.
community for ARC readers on there.
Huh.
Um, and then, like, TikTok terrifies me, and I know like, everyone tells me this is the place to sell books, and I
Yeah.
know that. I have a TikTok, I'm trying, but it's by trying, I'm like, "Okay, I post, like, once every 3 weeks." It's a scary place for me, and I know it's not gonna work unless I just actually start posting multiple times a day probably, but I'm just scared of it, and I think, yeah, just like I'm like, "Okay, I'm not great with videos and, making videos of myself or anything like that, but I'm good with words." So Threads works
Mhm.
pretty well for me.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Instagram is okay because it's at least just a picture. It doesn't, like, necessarily have to be. I've done reels, but marketing is hard. Marketing is really hard, and I think
That'll be the next
but
thing on the list.
yeah, I think the biggest thing is using ARC readers is one of the best things I think a new indie author can do because you are bringing people into the, like, ground level and saying, "Hey,
Mhm.
let's make this book happen." Like,
Yeah.
let's get people talking about this book, and we all it feels like a collective effort of,
Yeah.
"Here, I'm gonna give you this free book. If you like it, please help me hype it up." And that has been where I've gotten the most traction. On more than one occasion, I've had an ARC reader's post go viral, and
Oh,
when it goes
nice.
viral, that's when I get the most sales. It's not
Mm.
when mine, gains traction, it's when one of theirs does. Because if I'm the author talking about my book, everyone's like, "Well, yeah, you think it's good." But if someone else, a reader is like, "This is a great book," then everyone's like, "Is it? I should
Yeah.
read it."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's where, like, you get more traction. So I think that's why ARC readers can be so helpful
Yeah.
because they read the book before it comes out, and then they will talk about it. They'll say, like, what they liked about it, and if they have, like, even if they, I mean, one that went viral, she had, like, fewer followers than she was following people,
Mm.
but it still went viral, and I got tons of pre-orders from her
Wow.
post just saying, like,
Okay.
"Oh, what a great dedication on this book," and so I think that,
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
again, it's almost like outsourcing your marketing,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
bringing other people in to help you spread the word,
Yeah.
and then it's also that, like, they say you have to see something a certain number of times before you're like, "I'm
Mhm.
gonna buy that." I
Yeah.
think by spreading it out I think with, my recent book, I had, 700 ARC readers, I think,
Wow.
and so, you just saw it, like, popping up all over
Yeah.
social media, and then people are like, "This must be a good book." But it's like, really, I gave the book to these people,
Yeah.
um, but it still just helps people like, "Oh, yeah, I think I would like it because so and so liked it, and so
Yeah.
and so had good
Yeah.
things to say about it," so.
When you do ARC readers, are you doing ebooks only or ebooks and physical, or do you get picky about who gets physical because it is a cost?
Absolutely. I've done e-arcs, and that I pretty much just open up. On my first book, I got, I think, 300
Wow.
e-arc
Wow.
readers,
Dang.
and it took months for me to build that up. And then with my next one, I put out the call for it, and within 2 days, I had like 700. I was like, I think I need to close it. Looking back, I probably could have just like left it open, but I closed it because I was like, what am I gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
with all these ARC readers, there's no way to sort through them at this point. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I kind of panic closed it. But so that kind of goes back to the, like, you just keep building with indie, right? Is so
Yeah.
I started at 300, the next one was 700, and but then for physical arcs, the first time I did 20, I think 20-ish, like, physical boxes. So I
Mhm.
do like the art prints and like a pair of fuzzy socks and stickers and then the
Love
book,
it. That's
and it was
cute.
really cute. And I sent that to influencers.
Okay.
Um, and I was actually fascinated to learn that, like, just because someone had a lot of followers, that did not necessarily have the
No.
best, like, return on investment. A lot of my best ones, it was the micro influencers, less than 10,000.
Mhm.
One, I think she had like 3,000 followers, but she just made beautiful pictures and did
Right.
great reviews. And she really had a way of engaging with
Mhm.
her audience
Yeah.
where they would comment and she'd pull it back to the book. There'd be some where it's like they would post the picture, but the description would just say like, "So what are you guys up to this week?" And people would comment just like
Oh,
random things, and I'm like, "Did anyone notice the book?"
Yeah.
So, it was harder for me to tell, like, are people actually looking at this and being like, "Oh, that'd be a cool book
Yeah.
to read," or are they just so I don't know if that's helpful or just random thought
No.
process, but it was just yeah, just kind of like, okay, it's like I just totally lost my train of thought.
No, it's okay.
Sorry, I like looked over and saw a book and I read the book title and that's all it takes for my brain sometimes. I should not have looked away from the camera. I know better.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I totally get what
I
you're
don't
saying
remember.
though. Talking about like engaging audiences for an influencer versus quantity of audience for an
Oh,
influencer.
yes. Thank you. Yes, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, just also like some people will, you know that people can buy followers, so it's always like actually go and look at what people are commenting, how many, and so it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's been very interesting. So like with my next one, I think I also did um with my second book, I think I also did 20, but I looked at who I was
Mhm.
accepting for like influencers a lot
Yeah.
differently than the
Yeah.
first time because the first time I was like as many eyes can see this is like the
Right.
best. And I still was like conscious of like I want to give some newer accounts like
Yeah.
a chance, but that it was more like most were bigger than like some were small and mid-size,
Mhm.
and then the next time it almost like had flipped because it was
Oh yeah.
like I think you get more engagement from the smaller accounts a
Yeah.
lot of times.
No, that totally makes sense. I mean, a lot of the marketing podcasts and, articles and groups that I'm a part of that talk about marketing are saying that obviously we've been saying it's about engagement for a long time in the marketing realm, but they're also saying that it's moving away from influencers and into the mom recommendation where it's like, oh, well, mom recommended that, or, my friend
Mhm.
recommended that, or, somebody else that I like trust, which is a lot of times
Yes.
those sub what do you
Yes.
micro influencers where they're like sub
Mhm.
10,000 or so. I don't know what the number is specifically, but ones that
Right.
have a more personal relationship with people where they feel like
Yes.
they're actually connected in some way.
That's where I get a lot
Yes.
of my inspiration for what to read is the micro influencers. They
Yeah.
don't have a ton of followers, but they always interact like with
Yes.
their
Yeah.
followers.
Yeah. So important.
Yes, and I think that makes a huge difference. You'll see that too. And that's not to say, I mean, I have some larger accounts that I'll always use, whenever I do influence because I do that, but I feel like there are a lot of the bigger influencers who just like they don't have time, they can't keep up with it, and so I think their engagement starts just like dropping. And so finding that balance of like
Mhm.
if
Yeah.
the audience is engaged, that's definitely the more important thing for because yeah, you want someone to be like, "Oh, this looks like a good book. Where can I get it?" rather than like just talking about like, "Oh, so this weekend I went to my friend's house." Like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like so yeah, I don't know.
About the book.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Let's circle back.
Yeah.
Circle back to the authors in the comments trying to wrangle the audience
Yes,
like, hello.
yes.
I wrote this.
Hi,
You
happy to
just
hear you had a
focus
good
for a second,
weekend.
like,
Read my
pay
book.
attention. Oh my gosh. So for you with the indie marketing, what are some of the more unique ways that you're tackling marketing? Are you doing your own pop-up stands? Are you going live, AMAs, cons? Like what are the ways that you're tackling marketing?
So I've been doing quite a few in-person events, which was never part of my initial strategy. Actually, when
Okay.
I first published, I was not planning to do paperbacks at all. I was just gonna do ebooks. I was like, let's see if this actually because I wanted to keep my costs as low as possible. I was like,
Right.
I'll
Yeah.
just do ebooks. And then a couple months before release, I had tons of people being like, but it'll be on paperback, right? Like I want to order it. And I was like, yes, it will. It will be on paperback. Let me just scramble and figure that out.
The audience
Um,
wants it.
yes, I'm like, I'm not gonna say no if you want it. And
Yeah.
um, so then once I got to like late spring, all these events started kind of popping up, and I was like, well, maybe I'll apply for some of those. And so I've done already this year, I think like four. I've done four events, and
Wow, nice.
the in-person events are spectacular. I do really well at those. Um, and then so I think if you can find local events, that's a great way to go. You're
Mm,
not worrying about flights, driving, hotel, any of that stuff.
yeah,
Um,
so true.
and usually the booth fee is going to be lower, at least
Mhm.
for me
Okay.
because I live in like the middle of nowhere. But um, maybe if you live in like New York City, the local events won't be any cheaper. But in Idaho, they're much cheaper.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, so I've found, yeah, a lot of success with those, and I found people are very excited to support like local authors.
I love that.
But
I
I
love
went
that.
to my first big con over the past weekend. I went to Enchanticon, and that was very fun. But I was
Fun.
like, okay, flying books to an event is
Oh my
not for
gosh.
like it's a struggle.
Oh, I
How
bet.
did
And
you do that, by the way? Did you just like Amazon ship it to the location or did you just stuff your
no,
duffel bag?
I 100% stuffed my duffel bag. So I put it in like I put them in boxes and then I put them in like checked bags. Um, Next time I would 100% figure out shipping beforehand. I was just like, this will probably be fine.
I
And
can't even
luckily
imagine the
I
weight
brought
limit on that. Like, ma'am, this is 100 pounds.
That was probably so
yes,
expensive.
well, so it was expensive. And so I did 3 checked bags. Each one like they had to
Oh
be under 50, otherwise the price would go up. And I was like, I'm like, what if I get there and I sell like 20 books and I have 130 books with me?
no.
Um, and the first day
Donate
was
them.
pretty slow, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I only like I think I sold like 20 books my first day," and I was like, "I'm gonna
Oh
go
no.
home with like over 100 books." And luckily Saturday was like a really good day, and I came home with like 20 something books, and I was like, "Okay, that's fine.
That's
I can
awesome
do that." And
though.
That's great.
yeah, and so I was able to just like do the, Russian nesting doll type of thing with my suitcases. Like I put them all so that I only had one
Solid.
checked bag coming back,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was like, "Okay, that was not the way to do that." But again, you have these experiences, you learn, you take notes, and
Yes,
you do it
100%.
differently the next time. So,
That's awesome
but
though.
yeah, it's hard to travel. I kind of was like, I'd like to do more events where I can at least drive. That would be a lot easier because
Yeah.
then I can just like stuff my trunk, but
Yeah.
flying with it, it's like yeah, it really sucks to be like, "Oh my gosh, if I have to come back with 100 books, not only is it like expensive but I'm gonna feel stupid. I'm gonna be like, wow,
Oh.
I overshot that a little bit, but
Oh, dang.
that's just how it goes sometimes. So I don't know. But I think shipping it would be at least alleviate some of the stress of like, okay, now I have to get it under 50 pounds which is like for me, each book is around a pound. So it was like
Okay.
50-ish
Dang.
books per bag.
Wow.
That's
And then
wild.
like
They
kind of
probably see that a
dispersed to
lot
get my
though.
Yeah.
At the cons, like when people are going to a certain city for a con, because they're not always in like big cities, right? I don't know where Enchanted
right,
is at.
right. It was in St. Louis in Missouri.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like,
Yeah.
it's a major city, but it's not like a major
Yeah.
city. And so
Yeah.
it's like they
Right.
probably see like, oh, at this time of the year, everyone's got 5 checked bags of books.
Yes. Lord.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I can't
And I
imagine.
also, at that event, it was like a lot of the attendees were flying as well. And so they'd be like, oh, I don't have any
Okay.
more room for like physical books. And I was like, okay, that's something
Wow.
else to think about. If we're all flying here,
Yeah,
um,
that's
where
interesting.
if you're a local, it's like, okay, I can just throw this in my car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about
Huh.
that.
So,
Yeah.
So I guess
Oh.
maybe that's
but
like flat merch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Small
I
merch.
did really enjoy it though. And I think next year, so I'm already kind of thinking like, okay, how am I going to plan to do events next year? And I definitely am going to do more events because I did a lot better on those than I was anticipating.
Yeah.
But like that's basically my marketing is in-person events, threads, and a little bit of Instagram. I do have a newsletter
Oh,
that
cool.
Oh, cool.
I'm okay at, I think. But I have a TikTok account, but I'm scared of it still. So that's on my to-do list is to not be scared of TikTok and to actually like post on it.
Oh my
Fair
god.
enough.
Well, we still have to post stuff on TikTok, even though we have a TikTok account.
Yeah.
We keep forgetting.
Ugh,
Like, oh yeah, we have
yeah.
that.
It's funny though, because I've made like 4 videos. I just keep forgetting to
Keep forgetting
post
to post them.
them.
I made before my second book came out, I was like, I'm gonna just do some batch
Yeah.
content. I made like 30 videos and I was like, I can post one a day on TikTok. I never did. They're all still just sitting there because I'm like,
Oh
Oh,
no.
I don't know. TikTok it's a scary place and because I feel like you either like there was one where I worked a long time on it. I was like, I nailed it and I went and posted it and it got 1 view and I was like, are you kidding? What is this?
yeah.
What is this? And so I was like, that's fine. I thought I killed it. I
I
did it.
know. I know. It's like the ones that you think are gonna like the other day I made this Instagram video for a different thing that I was doing marketing on. I was like, this is a throwback to classics. This is like I'm pulling a scene from a movie to go with a moment that I just filmed. This is gonna be great. And then like I sent it out and I think it got like 3 views. I sent it to my family and they were like, what is this? I was like, you don't
No,
I
literally.
know.
And then anytime if I post something like, "Man, it's hot today," then it's like 6,000 likes. I'm like, "What? Like, come on. Make this happen for my book. Don't show people the stupid
even
stuff I
right.
say." Like,
Oh my gosh.
ah.
No, I get it. It's so frustrating. Gosh. Well, I know that we are kind of wrapping up time-wise, but what are 1 or 2 pieces of practical advice? You've already dropped quite a few things in here,
Great
honestly.
advice, yeah.
Yeah, but if you were to either sum up some of those things or even give different advice just to make it kind of crisp and neat for the audience to kind of take away, what would that be?
Sure, I think if you're pursuing this is for indie specifically,
Yeah.
I think, finding so for one thing, it's good to have critique partners or authors, that you can
Yeah.
talk with, but always go in with the mindset of, not all critique partners are the same. I say that a lot because, you can have someone who makes you feel bad about your work or that it's not good. Like, you need to find critique partners who make you want to write more, who make you
Mhm.
want to make your book better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so finding like a tribe of some sort to encourage you to keep going, to make your work better, but to like, make sure you're not getting discouraged.
Yeah.
And then finding things like Vellum. Again, that is the formatting software. That's for Mac only. I believe if you have um, a Dell or whatever else, that one it's like called Atticus.
Okay.
But so there's formatting softwares. Finding like a good cover designer. Definitely stay
Yeah.
away from anything AI.
Yeah.
Not just because it's bad for human artists, but also like if people find out you're using it, they're not gonna. It's
Yeah.
not gonna end well. Like honestly, you'll
Yeah.
get on a list of like, oh, this person supports AI, and
Yeah.
I would proceed with caution on that one. And then there are Discord groups. One is called, I believe it's Indie Authors Ascending. That is a wonderful place to be for indie authors because there's writers of all different levels. And again, just taking criticism and like feedback with, caution always is this
Yeah.
helpful? Is this going to work for me?
Mhm.
And then, yeah, just I think keep in mind that your first book's going to be your hardest, but once you
Yeah.
kind of figure out how it works, just keep publishing and learning,
Yeah.
and also reach out to people whose work you admire, and
Mm.
if you need feedback, because most are very nice and will help you.
Oh,
So
nice.
That's
I love
awesome.
that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's so sweet. It is a really good, like, I mean, we're obviously newer to the realm of like the
Yeah.
social media marketing, especially for
Mhm.
indie publishing or indie authors. But I will say on the post we made yesterday being like, oh, we were supposed to post this earlier to catch the algorithm, our bad. Like, can you support us, please? Like
Please.
that video, there's just like a 30-second little snippet of, the first episode that we
Yeah.
released. It's the most views we've gotten on any of the content on there,
Yeah.
like by double. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
people are actually liking it and like, engaging with it in a somewhat
Yes.
meaningful way and stuff. And so I'm like, oh, that's nice that there's like a supportive, because it doesn't cost you anything to
Yes.
like do a like or make a
No.
comment or listen to a podcast. You can use
Exactly.
the podcast in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like I mean, just to engage with it and engage with other artists and support them with just a
Mhm.
little bit of time or just the most minuscule amount of energy really does make
Yes.
somebody's day to see like, oh, I got 10 likes. I got
Yeah.
100 likes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You're scrolling anyways. If you like the post, just hit
Yeah.
that heart button, and
Yeah.
you're like you're helping out an indie artist in some
Yeah.
way. So
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. The community seems really great for the most part.
Yeah, it really does.
yes.
I like it a lot.
Amazing. Well, this has been a fantastic conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like we
Yay.
had so many great like moments, and just getting to hear your story has been super, super fun. And I love to hear that you're getting so much success with your new adventure and pivoting away from the trad beast.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you working on now, or what have you released recently that you would like people to go check out? And then where can people find you online?
Okay, so I am anywhere. I'm on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok, all the same username. It's author Bree Wilde. Just written like that, no spaces, dashes, anything. It's just author Bree Wilde. And yeah, if you ever have any questions, you can slide into my DMs. I'll answer as best as I can. And then I have 2 books that are currently out. This one is called Between Smoke and Shadow. It is about it's a forbidden love romantasy standalone. It is a magic prince and a mortal servant, and she is in a secret rebellion to overthrow his family.
Ooh.
Dang.
And then this one is for all my Vampire Diaries Clareline girlies. If you
Nice.
loved Klaus and Caroline, I think you'll like this book. It is a cursed vampire king who's trying to break a deadly curse. The only way he can do that is by sacrificing this specific half human, half witch woman. And so it's enemies to lovers, forced proximity, good vibes, vampires and witches. So
Darcy's hitting
those are
the buy button in her cart right now.
heck yes. And then this there will be the next book in this interconnected standalone series.
Yeah.
That comes out. I'm hoping it'll come out in like November, but that's not official yet, so don't hold me to it. But that's kind of the goal. That's the goal.
DVD, yeah. That's
Keep
so
checking back.
exciting.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love it. That's so
Yay.
fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah. This I can definitely see your books probably like really going places, because those are both
That would be great.
those are both like those are both like really, I mean, super popular vibes amongst like the book talk girlies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they sound really
Yeah.
so
Thank you.
love it. I'm excited to buy them myself.
All right, well, we
I
gotta
hope
wrap
you
this
like
up
them.
so Darcy can go buy
Yeah.
this book.
Yes, 100%.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Bree. And I can't wait to hear more about how this journey goes. And hopefully you just get a massive amount of book sales and just keep getting to write.
Fingers crossed for you. It was absolutely
Thank
lovely
you
to meet
guys so much.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
so good
sharing
to
your
meet you
story.
too.
Awesome. Take care.
All right.
Oh, wait,
All
you have to wrap us out.
I do.
I'm bad at the wrap out. It's all Darcy. You gotta wrap us.
So just remember, everybody's a work in progress. It's a process. We'll see you next time.
All right. Bye, guys. Bye. Bree.
Bye. Thank you.
Sweet.
Perfect.
Yay.
That's great.
Okay.
Now we can see you.
There we
We
go.
all survived. Oh my gosh. Well, it's good to see ya.
Yeah, you too.
How's life been?
Good. I just got back from Enchanticon. That was in St. Louis, so that was fun. Yeah.
Fun. Okay, well, let's record first, because otherwise we're going to dive into all the good stuff right out the gate. I was like, I want to hear about Enchanticon.